What is your opinion? Do you think Black Lives Matter is positive? Do you think it's
No, I think it's divisive.
divisive?
Absolutely divisive.
How
And
so?
because it is a racially exclusive organization. It is based on false narrative.
Okay, let me.
It is.
When there was a protest here, there were more white people.
I'm talking about the organization.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the individual protesters. I'm talking about the meat and potatoes of the organization. There's a lot of people in that organization that are making a lot of money off a lot of people that are suffering. Black folks, white folks, police officers. They need that division to justify their existence. The KKK needs that division to justify their existence.
How can you
What's
say...
Black Lives going to matter if you and I are walking around
there was
holding hands?
Let me say this. There was a meeting where there was close to 200 people with the Black Lives Matter, right? And I would say 90% of these people, so that would be about 160, 170, 80, were white people. Now, do you think it's extreme to compare that to the Ku Klux Klan? I don't think you would see two black people ever at a Ku Klux Klan.
No, well, that may be right. That may be right.
So
and I'm not saying there's not whites.
Do you think it's kind of extreme? I mean, that's kind of extreme.
Well, I think the message is very extreme, and I think it's very divisive, and I think it's very dangerous.
You think
the message of Black Lives Matter
of equality?
It's not equality. This has listen.
You
could try to table that in a this is an equality issue. The fact of the matter is that this is not the civil rights era of the '60s. I would have been standing with you in the civil rights era of the '60s because what happened to African American people and how they were treated was absolutely atrocious, and there's no excuse for that. And I would have loved to have been alive in that time frame because I would have been one of the guys standing next to you. That's not what we're dealing with here. What we're dealing with here is basically people trying to blame something for their lot on life. The people, look at the people that we have here. Look at the amount of support that hardworking, law-abiding citizens, black, white, Hispanic, gave to the Trump campaign. I sat right next to oh my gosh, he's the leader of the black ministry in Akron Canton area at the Akron Trump rally. You know, he's looking at me going, because I was curious. So I asked him. I says, "What? I'm really curious to know why you're here." He says, "We have a black president for 8 years, and things are worse in my communities than they were not before that. You know, something's got to be done." That's the mentality that I get from the National Black Caucus. I did a press conference here with them endorsing Trump. The Colin Post. You know, and everybody says, "Well, it's just Don King. That's not everybody." Well, he's going to lose a ton of money, right? If with that, nobody reads the Colin Post anymore. I mean, it's even that I think is a false narrative. But when you look at who is doing the complaining, look at the history and the background of who's doing the complaining in this thing, and it is a very, very small portion.
Do you think I don't mean to cut you off. Do you think that's the wrong perspective, looking at it as complaining?
Well, I mean, what is it? Protesting, complaining, call it whatever you want, you know?
So that's a right.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. We'll sit out here all day long and defend. I've had people out here in front of the Union Hall, you know, going around calling for me to, you know, hey, ho, Loomis got to go, you know. But, I mean, I get that. I dig that. But do you think that stopping traffic on a major highway is peaceful protesting?
Yeah.
You do? Uh-huh. What if your kid is in the ambulance trying to get through that mess?
I don't think
then
that's
is it peaceful protest? Yes, it has happened.
Okay,
it happened in Dallas.
Okay.
And the person expired. The person died because of it. Mm-hmm. There's lawsuits flying over that.
I think
Why
I think
is that
the
peaceful
amount-
Why is it okay? Hang on one.
Okay.
Why is it okay for Black Lives Matter to deprive other people that may not think along those lines, or maybe people that do? But why is it okay for Black Lives Matter to deprive them of their freedom of movement?
Well, let me say this. I can't speak for Black Lives Matter because I am not in the Black Lives Matter group.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only speak for myself.
I understand.
And what, you know. So my first answer to the last question would be the ambulance. I think people blocking an ambulance, I think, and it's not to negate that life that was lost in the ambulance, but more people die from injustice than I think die from protests blocking an ambulance.
Man, that's really thin. I like you, man, but that's really thin. You know, you don't have a right. You absolutely do not have a legal right or a constitutional right to deprive somebody of their freedom of movement.
Yeah, I didn't. I was just answering the previous question. Now, the second, like, that I could see that kind of answers that question.
Mm-hmm.
To further answer that question, I believe that if you were going to, as you said, march in the '60s, you were kind of going to be doing the same thing.
Listen, for a different reason. All right, way different reason. Night and day different reasons. That was an entire race of people that were literally being oppressed. That was an entire race of people that were literally being not allowed to vote, that were literally being treated despicably, night and day. We're talking about a police-involved shooting here, or a difference in opinion on that. Any one of the police-involved shootings, people have lost their mind on these subjects. When you look at statistics, you know, and I'll get you a copy of that book, and other books, but you know, you're a smart guy. You look at the statistics, and statistically speaking, you know, less than 1% of all the homicides in the country are police related at all. And a very, very small percentage, 35% to be exact, of police-involved shootings are of African-American males. Now, I don't know what the percentage is.
That goes back to unarmed and armed.
And
what's unarmed and armed?
Yeah, and I was just going to say that. I don't know what the percentage is unarmed. We need to define what is unarmed. Because if you're in an SUV and you're driving at me, like we saw down in Columbus, you're definitely armed, in my opinion. You know, my wife will think that too. My mom probably.
Well, when the police say armed, or in the military, when they say armed, they're referring to a gun.
No, they're not.
They're not?
No, sure. I mean, guns, grenades, bombs, knives. Okay. I mean, there's a million different things that can kill a person.
Now, let's say with the RNC here, right?
Uh-huh.
Everybody was so nervous and so worried what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And Black Lives Matter didn't protest.
Yeah, why do you think that was?
They chose not to.
Why?
They just chose to sit out. I know that was like I don't want to say official, but they chose not to participate in
mm-hmm. I'll tell you what my perspective of that is. Number one, a person from representing Black Lives Matter murdered 5 Dallas cops within a couple weeks before the RNC. So I think that it would have been in very, very poor taste for them to come in and try to bring any light to their grievances. Number two, we had 3,100 uniformed police officers here. This place was locked down. This place was as secure as it could be.
But there were people protesting.
Sure.
There was flag burning, which Trump is trying to make illegal. There was a lot of things that Black Lives Matter, because if you have to look. But
look at the protests that we had. You know, there was also a lot of interaction with the police. We didn't have police officers out there in riot gear, for the most part.
Right.
Bet your life there was police officers sitting off the street somewhere in riot gear if something jumped off, and that's responsible. Now, Rhonda Williams would think that that's militant, having guys in riot gear ready for a riot to start, the possibility of a riot. That's just responsible.
Yeah, I'm just focusing on the Black Lives Matter and the anticipation of what you're saying, a riot and different things.
Sure.
When Black Lives Matter had nothing to do with it. So I think...
Well, Black Lives Matter was here, by the way, and they did march down Chester Avenue. Yeah, they were here, and they did march down Chester Avenue all the way to the 3rd District Police Station.
No, that wasn't Black Lives Matter.
Yes, it was.
No, that was... I know what you're talking about. That was the People's Oppressed Convention. That had nothing to do with Black Lives Matter.
Well, they were carrying Black Lives Matter signs. I have the video of it.
Yeah, but I'm saying...
Well, how do we know?
I was there.
But how do we know?
Because I know who's in... Most of those people weren't even from Cleveland.
Well, that's how it mostly is.
Yeah, but those people... Trust me, they're not really associated with Black Lives.
I know, but how does Steve Loomis, the cop that's standing on the roof, videotaping this group that's coming, how do I know that's not Black Lives Matter?
Because you're saying the white people are not involved, right?
No, I'm not.
You're saying that they were there, but they're not in the movement. Like you're saying it's an exclusive movement, right?
The leadership, the group
and
itself.
I'm saying these people, they weren't in the leadership.
Listen, I'm reading.
They didn't identify themselves as.
Yes, they did. That's what I'm saying. There was Black Lives Matter signs all over the place. Revcom.us, Revolutionary Communist Party of America. Those fools. I'm dealing with a guy up here at this police-involved shooting where we got shot at, by the way. And I'm asking him, he's yelling, and he's motherfucking, can I swear? He's motherfucking, fuck you, Loomis, you fucking piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. And so I walked up to him. I asked him, I said, sir, why are you so angry? You don't even know me. Why are you so angry? He goes, so... I said, I have a question for you. Fuck your question. And I said, well, I'm going to ask it anyhow because we're all expressing our First Amendment rights here, right? Fuck you. I said, I'm sitting next to the police chief. He's talking about raping my wife. What I'm going to show your wife what it's like to be with a black man. I got it all on video.
You think Black Lives Matter is dangerous?
I think Black Lives Matter is very...
You think they're a terrorist
divisive. They're a domestic terrorist group, yes. I'm comfortable saying that.
What proof do you have of that?
The damage that's done in city after city when something doesn't go their way. The murders of five Dallas police officers, of 2 Baton Rouge police officers, of I can't even tell you how many other police officers in ambush style murders. These are guys sitting in the car. They have nothing to do with anything. Sitting in a car doing reports, and people that are known associates of Black Lives Matter are perpetrating these types of crimes.
If you put on a wig and a different outfit, and you started marching and you had a Black Lives Matter sign, people would think you're supporting the movement. People, you know what I mean? It's like people can come.
I'm not talking about those people.
Okay.
I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the management level. The people that are making millions of dollars off of this.
You think Black Lives Matter Cleveland? Is it domestic terrorism group?
Absolutely. Black Lives, the organization is what you asked.
In Cleveland. The Cleveland chapter.
I don't even...
Because we're in Cleveland.
Yeah, we're in Cleveland. They have not demonstrated that at this point. I have not gotten any police officers, thank God, murdered here, needlessly. But at the end of the day, the movement, which was born in Ferguson based on false narrative, correct? Born in Ferguson, we all can agree on that.
I don't want to, I can only talk
historically
about
it was
my interaction with people in the group here.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've interacted
I
with
wasn't
them.
in Ferguson.
Listen, I've interacted with them. I'm not mad at any local. I've gone on national news saying that people in Cleveland are outstanding people, and I've been, and I'm probably telling you more than I should, but I've been at protests that they've at marches that they've had. The chief has been very, very tolerant, letting people walk around and block the streets and that kind of stuff. That's all illegal activity. I understand the chief's. I understand the mindset. All right, we don't want to. Listen, let them have their say. I love it. I have no problem with
What
that.
would you do? Because this battery is about to die. What would you do if the protesting is not working? If you don't want to raise awareness by blocking traffic, what would you as Steve?
Well, how is that? Let me ask you this: how is that helping the cause?
How is it helping?
Yeah,
how bringing attention?
What kind of attention? Negative, all negative. You're losing people by doing that.
No, there's a lot of people that don't like it. There's some people that honk their horn that do like it. There's some people that support. There's some people that take literature from these groups when they're out
because
there
they're
doing
scared
this.
to death to not. You get somebody walking up to your car that's blocking traffic. Listen, it brings in. Trust me when I tell you. You know, I've been honest with you to this point. It doesn't make any sense to me because it brings negative attention. When we went down and blocked the Shoreway,
East 9th?
the shore. No, it wasn't east. Well, yeah, it was in that area. Mm-hmm. When we went down and blocked the Shoreway, first of all, you're creating a very, very dangerous situation because maybe that 18-wheeler's text messaging and now he's got all lines of traffic are just at a dead stop. Very dangerous. Who's going to be responsible for that crash, right?
Well, he shouldn't be touching and driving.
Well, come on, man. I get it, but you know what I'm saying? If something bad happened because of that, people aren't expecting traffic to be dead stopped on a highway, on a major highway.
So what would you do? What's Steve Loomis' solution? What do you?
It wouldn't be to piss a bunch of hardworking, law-abiding citizens off by blocking traffic and having sit-ins and everything else. Protest away.
What is the proper solution?
Go to public square. There's a lot of different things. I got no problem with sidewalks and.
So your solution is anything that's legal.
Yeah.
Within the law.
Why wouldn't it be? Your solution is anything that's not.
No, I'm just saying you're talking.
I want people to be safe.
You want people to go. I was just gonna say I want the comparisons like what's going on in North Dakota.